Welcome to Daily Life Connection as we continue to explore who God is and what difference that makes in our lives. I think I'm going to do something different today. Instead of me kind of doing a little speech and sharing some concept of God with you, I'm just going to read a psalm. One of my favorites, Psalm 29. This is a psalm that was written probably after a massive storm had just gone through. And the writer says this. So I'm just going to read it, and then we'll talk a little bit, maybe. Bravo, God. Bravo. God and all angels shout encore. In awe before the glory. In awe before God's visible power. Stand at attention. Dress your best to honor him. God thunders across the waters. Brilliant, his voice and his face streaming brightness. God across the floodwaters. God's thunder tympanic. God's thunder symphonic. God's thunder smashes cedars. God topples the northern cedars. The mountain ranges skip like spring colts. The high ridges jump like wild kids. God's thunder spits fire. God thunders and the wilderness quakes. He makes the desert of Kadesh shake. God's thunder sets the oak trees dancing, a wild dance, whirling. The pelting rain strips their branches. We fall to our knees. We call out, "Glory!" Above the floodwaters is God's throne, from which his power flows, from which he rules the world. God makes his people strong. God gives his people peace. Interesting ending, isn't it? All of this noise and thunder and crashing and wind and rain, and God gives his people peace. Like I said, I'm not going to share a lot with you today. I'm going to ask you some questions. When you hear that psalm from the Message version, Psalm 29, what goes through your heart and mind? When have there been times in your life when something in creation has made you want to fall on your knees and cry, "Glory, glory to God"? You know, I think many times throughout Christianity there has been, we've sensed this dichotomy, this separation between creation, created things, and spiritual things. But that's more in our minds and from Greek philosophy than it is from God's perspective. God doesn't mind using physical things at all to communicate his glory to us and his majesty and his splendor, his power, and his peace. So, yeah, just share with us today, some of you, would you, just as you think about it and meditate on this psalm, and just share with us, what in creation speaks to you. When maybe there's been a particular time when you sensed God's peace in a storm, or at the end of the storm, or even before the storm. So, like I said, different daily life connection today. But I'm really interested in hearing from you as we share together, because every day I say it, we continue to explore together who God is. So, if you're really bold, just add a comment below with what your thoughts are about this magnificent psalm. God bless. We'll talk tomorrow.